Good afternoon. This is a Devar Torah on Parshas Pekudei. It's the ultimate and ending parsha of Sefer Shmos, the second book of the Torah, and fairly short. And what it summarizes is the beginning. In fact, is called labeled as the accountant's parsha because there's a giving a whole account of how much gold, silver, copper, and other materials were used in contributed to Mishkan and how much came out. One of the things we learned from this is that everything connected to anything in the Torah must be transparent and there must not even be the suspicion of anything. It then goes on to describe how all of the things for the Mishkan are actually made. Um, and then Hashem commands Moshe to assemble the Mishkan on Rosh Chodesh Nisan. Now, what I'd like to focus on today is why Rosh Chodesh Nisan, because it says, "V'diber Hashem el Moshe lemor, b'yom hachodesh harishon b'chad lechodesh takim mishkan b'ohel moed." It says, Hashem said to Moshe, saying, "On the day of the first new moon, on the first day of the month, you shall erect the tabernacle, the tent of meeting." Now, it's very interesting. Even to the day, the Hebrew months are actually the Persian names from when we were in exile, except for the month of Nisan, as Rav Moshe Shapiro Zikvan Sabadak explained. That's in connection with the concept of Nes, which the whole month of Nes miracles, which Nisan is. And that name is a Hebrew name, not one of the names of the nations where we were captive. Now, what is the significance of all the days of the year? Why was the Mishkan ordered to be built? And what happened on that day with miraculous help from Hashem? Because no ordinary human, even one like Moshe, could have assembled the structure. It was huge, very heavy elements to the Mishkan sanctuary. And Hashem shows that if we make the first effort, he will help, because as soon as Moshe touched each piece, it sprang up literally by itself. Now, also, this week is the fourth special Parsha between for Pesach. It's Parashat Chodesh, literally the Parsha of the month, called the Parsha translated of the month. It deals with what is given to us. I'll be back to that in a second. Commandment given by Hashem. And the day after that, Motzah Shabbos, the night after Shabbat this week, will be the beginning of the month of Nisan, which again is a miraculous month. And will be culminating on the 15th. Now, let us understand Rosh Chodesh Nisan. It has another significance also. There is a debate in the Gemara in Rosh Hashanah of when was the universe created. According, in other words, Ma'aseh Bereshit, the story of creation, according to one opinion, it was in the Hebrew month of Tishrei, what we more commonly call Rosh Hashanah, the head of the year. The other opinion, it was Rosh Chodesh Nisan. Now, as Gemara Rosh Hashanah, for most purposes, we hold that the year was started, and the world was created on Rosh Chodesh Nisan. Now, one can say, well, there's another month of judgment in Tishrei. That's where we're judged for material things, as the Shem Bishmo explains. We're judged on Rosh Chodesh Nisan for spiritual things. Now, when we say that Rosh Chodesh Nisan is the day of the creation of the world, we are not talking about the first day of creation, but the sixth day of creation. Now, the sixth day of creation was therefore Rosh Chodesh Nisan. And if that is the case, then the 10th of Nisan, which I'll get to in a minute, will be the equivalent of Yom Kippur at the other time of the year, Day of Judgment. We're putting ourselves totally in Hashem's hand, and that was also true now, because in Parashat Pekudei, which we're reading, it says that after we begin, that after the judging of the moon, determining the months, after that, the next thing we have is the whole commandment to bring the Korban Pesach, the Pesach offering. Now, how is that working? So, as explained by the Minei Saskar, there's a tie-in here. We are being put in charge of the months, and we're being given that responsibility. And partially because of that, we're being freed at this time. So Rosh Chodesh Nisan also has that significance. But it says, though, you're going to have every household is going to have to take a lamb, and they're going to have to, on the 10th of the month Nisan, tie it to the bedpost, where their neighbors can see exactly what Egyptian neighbors can see exactly what is going on. And this is the old act of ultimate faith, because the Egyptians worship sheep, and by sacrificing those lambs, we're saying we're effectively destroying your God, and there's not a single thing you can do about it. Hashem, of course, stopped the Egyptians were furious, but it stopped them from being able to take any steps. Now, and of course, the 15th is Pesach, which I have more to say another time, which is equivalent to the first day of Sukkot at the other end of the year. Now, this mitzvah of Rosh Chodesh Nis, of keeping the months, it says the months are going to be kept to you. When you say there's something to you, that means there's another group of people it's not going to be. And I'll explain that more in a minute. And who is that? That's all the other nations of the world, with one exception, are not going to be, are going by the sun. And that helps give an explanation, because if we go back to Ma'aser Bereshis, now, and incidentally, the whole Torah, according to first Rashi and the Chumash, could have started with the mitzvah we were given, first mitzvah of observing the moons, establishing them, keeping and determining the months, the holidays in the year. Rashi said it could have started there. However, we started at in the beginning of Ma'aser Bereshis to show that Hashem created the universe and gave it to Jewish people. And since he created everything, he had the right to give it to whoever he wanted. Now, it says in Ma'aser Bereshis, on the fourth day of creation, he said that there will be, in Pasuk 14, God said, let there be luminaries in the firmament of heaven to separate between the day and the night, and they shall serve as signs, and for festivals, and for days and years, for Moedim and Yamim and Shanim. Now, it also says, next pasuk, they shall serve as luminaries in the firmament to shine upon the earth. Now, it says there's two great ones, the greater one. Now, the question is, if the whole purpose of them is to give light, to illuminate the world, why did you need both of them? In fact, when I say that the great lights, the verb in Hebrew is in the singular. So it's coming to tell us, in terms of actually lighting up the world, the sun could have done it all. That's what gives us our light, our energy, and allows us to exist at all. That being the case, why do we have why are two of them? And as the Bnei Yissaschar explains here, that as based on Tehillim, Psalms, chapter 104, verse 9. It says, it's discussing all Hashem things Hashem made, and it says, Aseh Yireach Moedim V'Shemesh Yada Mevo, that he made the moon for the appointed seasons, and the sun knows its setting. Now, what does it mean the sun knows its setting? It's saying that the sun's whole purpose is to provide light, and that light for the nations of the world is the only thing that's needed. They have a totally solar calendar based on a 365 and a quarter days. Now, for us, however, as the Bnei Yissaschar explains, we have a different thing. We have the Moedim, we have the years, and for that, we are very special, and that's unique to us. That was given to us, and the whole governance of the world's determined, because there's a Gemara that says, well, once Hashem decided, it was asked by the angels, when are you going to judge the world on Rosh Hashanah, the day of judgment? God said, ask my children, meaning the Sanhedrin. It depended on when they declared the right day for that, based on the observation of the moon, rise of the new moon. Now, that's one thing it's teaching us. It's also teaching us something else. And what is it teaching us? That all the nations of the world go by the sun. We go by both. However, there's a question here, which I'm going to leave as a question. It's discussed. Is, well, what about there's one person, one nation that has the lunar calendar, which is the Bnei Ishmael. Ishmael's descendants. Now, the question is, however, their calendar is not like the Jewish calendar, because they don't bring it into balance, add a month, so it stays pretty much in coordination with the solar calendar. So that's something else we learn here. And this is something else that's been given to Jewish people. And finally, it says in Tehillim Mem, Pasuk Vav, that Rabos Asi et Kad Hashem Elokeinu Niflaos. Hashem makes his wonders, and his thoughts are deep. Now, what wonders is he talking about? He's talking about this whole creation of this, the universe, how he's made everything incredible, how everything's working according to a fixed time and a fixed cycle, and that and the months which have been given to us. Now, to tie that back into the Mishkan, which I started, that the Mishkan is the ultimate proof of Hashem, because with the Mishkan, that is the ultimate purpose that what started with creation on the first Rosh Chodesh Nisan, at the time of the creation story, is that we are going to be it's wonder that everything is operating in clockwork. And what is the Mishkan? The Mishkan is the ultimate personification of that, because everything in a Mishkan, a sanctuary, on a microcosmic level, represents something different in creation. And therefore, the ultimate purpose of creation, which was fulfilled, which started with the liberation of us keeping the months, the liberation of the people, the receiving of the Torah, and now the Mishkan, which is his sanctuary on earth. We should keep in mind, as we're coming into a month of freedom, that everything is from Hashem. Everything that's happening in this world is from Hashem. And even if we don't fully understand why things are happening the way they are, it's all part of a greater divine plan. And I'd like to wish everybody good Shabbos, Shabbat Shalom, and Chodesh Tov.